What's going on, you guys? My name's Ty Knots and welcome to Top 5 Unknowns. 5 creepy things Reddit users saw driving at night. Number 5. Many years ago, I was on what's called a meet and turn. This is where a driver that's domiciled out of one city will drive a load halfway to its destination, while a driver domiciled out of that destination will drive halfway with a load that's destined for my city. We meet in a parking lot, switch trailers, and drive back home. I'd been on this run for a few months, and found that I was always getting to the meet point an hour before the other driver. It was a dark and empty dirt lot at about 3 a.m., so I'd stretch across the seat and take a short nap. One night, about 10 minutes into my nap, I awoke by a dog barking. I tried to ignore it, but it carried on for several minutes and got louder as the dog got closer. Soon, it became apparent that the dog was right outside of my truck barking at me. So either this dog is Lassie and it's trying to alert me to something, or he's just a pain and I need to throw something at him to scare him away. It's important to note that the barking had been going on for a good 10 minutes at this point. So I sat up and looked out my window. Standing there mere inches on the other side of the glass was a man of about 35. He was a large fellow and he was the one barking at me. His eyes were crazy and he was frothing at the mouth a little. The scene really got my full attention for the moment. The sheer creepiness of this just struck me. Gently and making absolute minimum of sudden movements, I reach down and start my truck and slowly pull away. He chased me much like you'd expect any angry dog to do, barking the whole while. Needless to say, it kinda wrecked my power naps from then on. Number 4. My brother and I were driving through Montana in the middle of the night and got held up near Bozeman because a semi-truck had taken out a passenger van with 6 or 7 people in it. We only have that estimation because we sat mute while we watched parts being taken out of the van. It just so happened that the accident was seconds old when we got to it. A truck driving the opposite direction from us flashed us, alarming us to slow down. And we did. The driver of the semi was physically fine, but the cops interviewing him parked on the shoulder next to us, and we could hear him as he wailed, sobbed, and apologized. We were watching the EMT crew pull a head attached to a neck and part of an arm, while the driver started begging the cops for forgiveness. We sat there for 5 hours. The cops explained to us that this was in no way the semi-driver's fault. It's in my top 5 things of stuff I'd like to unremember. Arms and legs just all over the place. Number 3. Once a friend and I were driving down an old dirt road way out in the sticks in South Alabama, past an old 19th century cemetery, when out of nowhere a truck starts tailgating us. This was really late at night, and even in the daytime it would have been rare to see a vehicle, so we were a little bit creeped out. I sped up, but the truck just stayed right on my bumper. I'm now driving as fast as I can without flying off the road on this small windy dirt road, and I still can't shake the truck. My buddy who was with me knew the area very well and said that we were about to hit a paved road T-bone intersection, and that there was another small dirt road coming off at a sharp angle from the intersection. He said that if I could get ahead just enough to get out of the immediate side of the truck, I could cut the wheel hard to the left and whip into the spur road and hopefully ditch the truck. I did what he said, but right when I start to turn at the T-bone, I see what looks like an incredibly tall person just inside the tree line across the paved road, covered head to toe in long hair. As I'm turning, I shout, "Holy crap, did you see?" And before I could finish, my friend said, "That tall hairy guy." I finished the turn, we ditched the truck and get out of there, but to this day we still have no idea what we saw. Number 2. I delivered newspapers in a very rural area in the summer after I graduated high school. One night, it's pouring down rain, and I'm driving down this dirt road that's a dead end to a farmer's house. I've been down this road a few dozen times and know the routine. Drop off the paper in the box at the end of the drive, then back up the road and off to my next stop. This time, as I'm getting out of my car to place the newspaper in the holder, I see this man in the ditch wearing a drenched white shirt running at me as fast as he can. He got within 20 feet of me. I could see what my mind pictured as a hatchet or an axe, and I've never run so hard in my life. I ran back around the front of my car, jumped in, and took off. Everything happened so fast that I almost didn't realize where I even was. It must have been about 5 to 10 miles later that I attempted to call 911. I had no signal using my Motorola flip phone in the middle of nowhere in the year 2000, so I had to stop at a farmer's house to call the police at 2 a.m. Turns out the guy killed himself within an hour of this run-in with me in the wooded ditch. I haven't thought about that in a long time, and it kind of rattled my nerves again just thinking about it. Number 5. I was driving a shortcut from 29 Palms, California to Albuquerque, New Mexico. 29 Palms is located in the desolate high desert east of LA. The shortcut was all 2-lane road through total nothingness, except for passing through Amboy, California. Amboy is a nearly abandoned town nearly as far below sea level as Death Valley, with a dormant volcano and lava field on one side and a salt flat on the other. It was also at the time a hotspot for satanic group activity. I was driving by myself in the afternoon. I stopped in Amboy and snapped a picture of the city sign just to prove to a few friends that I was actually there. I got back in my car and proceeded to drive up the mountain range between Amboy and I-40. Once I reached the top, I'm driving north through a canyon with high grass on both sides of the road. Up ahead, I see some stuff in the middle of the road. As I approach, I slow down to see a red Pontiac Fiero stopped sideways across both lanes. A suitcase open with clothes scattered everywhere and 2 bodies laying face down in the road, a man and a woman. I stopped about 100 or so feet away, and the hair on the back of my neck was standing up. Being a Marine, I reach under the seat and pull out my 9mm and chamber a round. Something seemed very wrong. It looked too perfect, as if it were staged. Almost as if it was an ambush, or maybe I was just being paranoid, but something was definitely wrong. Getting out of the car seemed unthinkable. That would have been a horror movie move. As I scanned the road, I saw a line that I could drive on. Past the guy in the road on his left, swerve to the right side of the woman, behind the Fiero, and I'd be on the other side. I dropped it in the first gear, punched it, and drove the line that I planned. I passed the back of the Fiero without hitting it or either of the bodies in the road. I continued forward a couple hundred feet and slowed down so I could breathe and let my heart rate slow. As I looked up in the rearview mirror, I saw that the 2 bodies had gotten up to their knees, and 20 or so people emerged from the tall grass on either side of the road by the car and the bodies. At that moment, my right foot smashes the gas pedal to the floor, and I didn't let up until I had to slow down for the I-40 East ramp. I'll never know what would have happened to me if I would have gotten out of the car to check on those bodies or stopped my car closer to them. Somehow, I don't think it would have been good. Sometimes real life can be scarier than a movie. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to click that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep updated with our videos.